Hello everyone, welcome to Christopher's Entertainment Blog. I am your host Chris. Welcome back to another video for The Flash. This is episode 7? Episode 7, that's right, episode 7, and it's entitled Power Outage. So, awesome episode, guys. Um, you know, this episode was filled with stuff that they were doing. The whole entire episode, it was action-packed. Very awesome, cool episode. I really enjoyed it. We got introduced to another metahuman. I mean, they're clicking off the metahumans though, week after week. But this new metahuman goes by the character is actually called Blackout. Now, not to be confused with the Marvel Blackout, but this isn't the other DC comic Blackout, who has the ability to absorb electrical power and do electrical stuff, electricity. So it's very cool. But in the comics, from what I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the character Blackout is actually a good guy who was recruited by Cyborg in the comics. And, the way CW has done it is that they've reversed it and made him into a bad guy, which is fine by me. Because I thought it was a very cool character. I mean, he looked very sick. I mean, he looked awesome. And very evil-looking character, even though he was not really an evil character. He was just, consumed by this need to feed off electrical energy, and it just consumes him. You would see in this episode how powerful Blackout is, or AKA Farouk Gibran, that's his name. Farouk. I'll just call him Farouk. But you can see how powerful he really was, because Barry goes to try to, he finds out that, someone's getting like electrocuted. He sees at the crime scene. He goes to the, where the whole power outage is going on. And, he faces Farouk, and it doesn't really work out because he ends up draining Barry of his powers, like completely, like taking his powers from him, which is something like very new. It's kind of almost like the cold gun that Cisco made a few episodes back. I mean, you see, that was like a device that could stop Barry, the cold gun. Now you're seeing an actual metahuman that has the ability to actually destroy the Flash. I mean, he took his powers from him. He drained him. So, and we see that in this episode that Barry is like crippled. I mean, he's just like, he had these powers and he's used to them now, and he's like, it's debilitating to him. And you see in this episode, he just don't know what to do. And we see Dr. Wells, he goes in, he keeps going into this like secret room that he has, and still he's able to walk. He's still lying to everybody about this room, about who he is, about that he can still walk, and all. We don't know what his intentions are. But he's like, putting in like logs of Barry's accomplishments, or, his progress. So still don't know what the deal is with Wells. I mean, this whole device that he has, you can see it's like futuristic. I mean, it looks like he brought that back from the future to me. I mean, it looks like tech that doesn't belong in this time. So, so that's very interesting. It seems like he's been around a while. He brought this tech with him, and he's logging in his logs about Barry. I mean, why? I mean, it seems like he wants to do good, but then you see on the other hand, he looks like he does like bad things. I mean, we see at the end. I mean, I'm going to jump ahead. We see at the end, after Barry defeats Farouk, he takes the blood of Blackout, Farouk. He takes the blood, and he wants to study him to find out how he was able to absorb the Flash's powers. Does he want to do good or bad? I mean, that's the question. I mean, is he like experimenting on these other metahumans that he's got locked up? I mean, that's the question. I mean, it's speculation. I mean, it seems like he wants to do harm, but he's lying and telling everybody that he wants to do good. So, I mean, who knows what his alternative motive? I mean, we see this other Yellow Flash Reverse Flash or whoever or Zoom or whatever running around, how does he get his powers? So it could, like I said, it's somebody from the future coming to the past. It could be Dr. Wells. I mean, or it could be Thawne. I mean, who knows? I mean, how that's all going to set up. We still see Iris. But we see Iris in this episode, and Joe and everyone get in the hostage situation with the Clock King. That's another cool thing, is that they had two villains in this episode, except one. They had the Clock King, which we've seen him if you watch the Arrow show as well. He was on episodes of Arrow as well. So now we see the Clock King now crossing over to the Flash, and he takes everybody hostage in that police station, and it gets pretty hairy in there for a while. And there for a while, we he shoots Thawne. Joe thinks that he shot Iris, but it turns out it's okay. Unfortunately, Barry had his powers absorbed, so he couldn't come to save the day. But Iris took care of business. She did a good job. You see, when the Flash does show up in the hospital, she's just like, oh, and she drops everything. She forgets like what she's doing, who she's with, so she's got a thing for the Flash. You can see that, and she'll be ready to drop Thawne in a heartbeat once things come out, and I think once it comes out that it's Barry Allen, and then she's falling for him, and Thawne's gonna get a little obsessive, and things aren't gonna turn out too well. Yeah, guys. We see, Farouk, man. That character was badass. I mean, he really was badass character. We see that he also, Dr. Wells, in the whole skirmish of them, Farouk trying to get Dr. Wells and inside Star Labs. I mean, they're going, and Barry doesn't have his powers, and we see that Dr. Wells takes an audible and lets out Girder, the Tony, I forget his last name, the Tony character from, I think it was last week's episode, I believe. But he lets out the Girder character, and that was basically a distraction so they could try to get Barry's powers back for trying to use the treadmill. That doesn't work. And it's basically a mental thing. He says it's mental, it's in your head. But we see, Farouk kills Girder. He kills him. It's just like, whoa. I mean, you can see that. I mean, we've seen that Girder from the other week episode. We've seen him, be pretty powerful, and Barry had to do the mock punch to take him out. And now we see Blackout pretty much take out Girder. You can see how much more powerful this character was than the Girder character. But then, right when they get to the end there, and he's about ready to kill Dr. Wells, and you see that like the cellular, he connects with the cellular level of the Flash, and he just like, the electricity's coming out of his hands, and Barry just like zooms to Dr. Wells, picks him up, takes him back, and then goes back to Blackout in like a heartbeat, and it's like cellular. I mean, you've never seen him connect on that level of speed. I mean, that is so fast, it's unreal. And this is they keep upping the level every single episode. 600 miles an hour, he's running on water. 800 miles an hour, the mock punch. Now he's like cellular level. It's just like, it's just like you can't even see him. He's going so fast, and it's unreal. I mean, and he takes him out. He takes out Farouk. And then we see Dr. Wells, going to experiment. So, yeah, guys, very cool episode. I think I touched on everything that I can think of. But Barry gets his powers back. I don't think there was a question that he wasn't going to get his powers back. I mean, we all knew he would. But it was touch and go there for a minute. I mean, I felt convinced. I was like, wow. I mean, it seemed legit. But because Dr. Wells, then he goes back into his room and he sees the papers, and like the paper had no recollection of Barry Allen or the Flash. Um, so there for a while, in the future, Barry was like non-existent. So it was great to get his powers back, but that whole room, man. I mean, I don't know what Dr. Wells his ulterior motives is, but yeah, guys, I don't trust him. I really don't trust Dr. Wells, and he's obviously got ulterior motive, whether it's something to do with his wife, Tess Morgan, uh, trying to figure out how to go back in time or whatever to save her. That's maybe something that could be possible. But yeah, guys, I don't know. I mean, that's man. I don't know. Dr. Wells is a mystery right now. Very cool character, Dr. Wells. I mean, he's a mysterious character. I mean, we've seen him kill for Barry Allen. We've seen him go to different lengths to try to keep Barry, keep him pushing himself to try to get faster and faster and faster, and he's done that. So, it's slowly coming out. What Dr. Wells's ulterior motive is. I mean, it's amazing. It's just something. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but it's all speculation now. But yeah, guys, great episode. I really enjoyed it. Now, next week episode is going to be another great one because it's going to be the Arrow Flash crossover. So that's going to be exciting. I can't wait for that. And yeah, guys, comment below what you thought of this week's episode. And like and subscribe, guys. Appreciate the support. But that's it for me. I'm Chris for Christopher's Entertainment Blog. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.